Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Fahey. I'm your host. Joining me, as ever, is, of course, Christopher Pistofferson.
Noted shapeshifter, according to David Icke.
Reptile.
That's right. And to my...
That's Aaron Joseph Peter.
That's me. How are you?
Very, very good.
Good. Now, to my, let's say 12 o'clock this time, we have the star of the bi-curious face in Benjamin's butthole, Brad Spitt.
Jeez.
Wow.
Brad Spitt is good.
Yeah, Brad Spitt's cool.
Brad Spitt.
He should change his name to Brad Spitt.
Yeah. I call him Bicuriosa.
Brad Pitt?
No, this guy.
Oh, Bicuriosa, like from Mad Max.
Yes.
Given the Thunderdome.
Yes. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Gash.
Fury Load.
Fury Load.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
God.
Here we go.
Jesus.
Now we're cooking. Now we're culture jamming.
Culture jamming.
Yeah, jam it up, baby.
Just classic culture jamming. That's all it is. That's handsome Matt Brousseau.
Hi.
Hey.
We have to say, of course, at the beginning of the program, we do have a Patreon, $5 a month to get an extra show per week, and we have a lot of fun over there.
Mm-hmm.
We fixed the timelines. We got, we tampered with the tachyons.
Yeah.
The temporal lube is
The temporal lube is
running,
flowing.
Mm-hmm.
flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Check us out over there. Of course, there's now 460 you, I think. That's real cool.
Yeah.
See those numbers just keep creeping up. Really proud of you guys. Love you to bits.
It's true.
And we have a lot of fun over there, and we kind of keep it a little different.
We loosen up.
Jam it up.
Yeah. Now, Matt,
you're
bringing something to the table here.
Yes, that's correct, John. This is a recommendation from B.
Oh.
On Patreon.
A letter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Letter B.
They've had a couple. This was a good one because I didn't have to read. I didn't have to spend like 3 weeks reading a book.
Yeah.
He's only in parts of books.
Nice.
And then a lot of
Big cameo guy.
Yeah. Some people find eccentricity. Some people have it thrust upon them. Some people just slowly fade into it.
Yes.
The years adding up on each other. One little weird moment to the next.
Just one little ticks.
Yeah.
Just piling up.
Yeah.
Some people are born with it.
That's right.
Some people, it's Maybelline.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, true.
Yeah. And so with this one, the news made its way slowly throughout the country, from telegraph to word of mouth, and work stopped. Conspiracies abounded almost immediately. Some thought his successor had planned it, the ruffian. Hell, Lincoln's son had seen it. Something must be afoot. And then history of the shooter came out, and most folks realized conspiracy need not apply when a single crazy man makes his mark on history. His own conspiracies having brought him to that point. So this is a story you guys probably know the end of, or part of.
Okay.
But how we get there is something I didn't know. And it's a fun little run through various forgotten parts of American history that we've touched on here and there. My sources are a fall 2016 article in Prologue, not Prolapse magazine, Prologue magazine by Jay Bellamy.
Well, if you have a prologue, you can cause a prologue.
That's true. Yeah. The book Destiny of the Republic by Candace Miller, and some contemporary newspaper accounts published in the Chicago Tribune in 1881. Today's profile is a man named Charles Julius Guiteau.
Guiteau?
Guiteau. Guiteau. He was born in September 8th, 1841, Freeport, Illinois. It's near the top of Illinois, right near the Wisconsin border. He was fourth of 6 children. His mother suffered from psychosis. She died in 1848 when he was 7. Charles was an awkward child. He often stammered, and for that his father beat him, which only encouraged more stammering.
Yeah,
you can imagine.
I bet. Yeah, that's it's not going to let the words just flow freely.
No. It really doesn't help the cause. He also beat him for his quote-unquote religious shortcomings, which might have also been the stammering, for all we know. Yeah.
I mean, did these people think anything through ever?
You assume that he thought that through, and what his thinking through it was, obviously the religious shortcomings. Maybe if I hit him harder,
Yeah.
He'll believe in God more.
he'll be better at
He'll
it.
believe in a just,
Yeah.
loving God.
Well,
more.
I mean, did his parents believe in did his dad believe in a just, loving God?
Who's to say?
When he was in his teens, he inherited $1,000 from his grandfather. It's about $37,500 today. He moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan to attend the University of Michigan, but he failed the entrance exam. So instead, he went to the local high school and studied French and algebra and then dropped out before he finished his studies. He moved to Oneida, New York to join the religious community there. The Oneida community, founded by John Humphrey Noyes in 1848, featured free love, marriages planned by Noyes, mutual criticism, where you stand in front of the group and they all harangue you for the things they don't like about you.
It's mutual.
Yeah. The stammering, I can't.
Yeah. It also featured coitus reservatus. I don't know. You guys would call it gooning.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So you just have sex and you don't come because they want to plan where all the children. It's a form of eugenics they practice of trying to group. Noyes would pick who gets to have a kid with who. Noyes would also
Noyes?
John Humphrey Noyes, who founded the Oneida community.
How do you spell that?
Noyes.
Okay.
Yes, in Oneida, New York. They'd eventually become the silverware folks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. And that's where they made most of their money. Later in life. Now, Guiteau's father was a huge believer in Noyes, so he wanted to join the community, but he never did because his wife at the time didn't want to. You can imagine. It's going to be tough because you're going to sleep with all these other chicks while you're there. Free love, Now, the fathers seemed to believe strongly in Noyes and the perfectionism. So the Oneida community was also based on this belief in perfectionism, which is
attainable.
Yeah. Through prayer and the right kind of education, a person could be intellectually, morally, and spiritually perfect, and so would be free of sin.
Ah.
And so you can imagine that's probably where the beatings came from.
Gotta beat it out of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Make
if
it perfect.
you can will yourself into being free of sin, what do you need Christ for?
Well,
yeah.
Well,
Did it myself, Chief.
Yeah, basically I'm the same as Christ now if I do that.
Yeah, but then also maybe Noyes won't tell you who you can fuck. I mean, you could choose your own partners, but Noyes would have the final say. And he fucked his niece and
oh God.
But no coming, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you weren't supposed to come.
Yeah, okay.
But then if you have any slip-ups, you're not perfect.
Yep.
Next time.
Let's try it again. Now, Charles Guiteau himself, he worshipped Noyes, and he wrote that.
Now, is this the father or the son?
The son, Charles.
Okay.
I don't know forgot his father's name. Charles wrote that Noyes, that Charles himself had perfect, entire, and absolute confidence in Noyes in all things. However, few folks in the Oneida community had any confidence in Guiteau. He didn't believe he should take part in the menial tasks they all did, writing to Noyes that he was sent by God to help Noyes, not to do menial labor.
Shit ain't for me, pal.
Yeah. But because of his attitude, he was never invited to sleep with or marry or free love, and the people in the community started calling him Charles Get Out.
Oh God!
Nice.
Yeah. They kept their sense of humor, those Oneidas.
That's true. Yeah. Well, they're all backed up on nut.
They got all that creative energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got some real zingers.
Yeah, they got some zingers, all right.
Yeah. Get some fucking web slingers.
And during the mutual criticism, they would call him an egotist and conceited. And he left the community twice. The first time he left Hoboken, where he started an Oneida newspaper called the Daily Theocrat. That failed immediately, and he returned to the community again, only to leave immediately again.
Well, yeah, they don't like him.
Yeah, because they were all gonna do another moral criticism, and so he left in the middle of the night.
Yeah, man, we called you Get Out.
Yeah.
He shows back up. He's like, I've had a real tough time. They're like, hey, mutual criticism tomorrow. Just so you know.
New guy always gets it. Where have you been, pal?
Mm-hmm.
And he...
I'll tell you how good my life's been since Chuck left.
No one's standing around while we're digging in the dirt. And this time when he left, he sued Noyes. But Guiteau's own father wrote letters against his son's cause and in support of Noyes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Guiteau then moved to Chicago. He worked as a clerk at a law firm, and he eventually did pass the bar exam. At the time, you just sat in front of a guy. He asked you 3 questions, and if you got 2 of them right, you're in.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, they don't tell if there's a physical exam at all. If anything, which would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. As a lawyer, he argued few cases. In one, he leapt over the bar into the jury pool to thrust his fist into juror's face, who didn't feel was giving him the right attention.
Does that mean a punch?
No, he just put his fist in his face.
You motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm lawyering here.
Juror intimidation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he did that, the whole courtroom broke out in laughter.
Man, he's not having a good go of it.
Not even taking him seriously.
No.
He answered 2 questions to get there.
The nicest thing written about him later about this time was that he had a nice voice.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you could get it out of him.
He was later described in the spirit as a, quote, a dizzy actor, a parlor tragedian with no moral character to speak of.
Oof. Yikes.
Did he get rid of the stammer stutter?
Seemingly, yeah. It didn't show up in any later descriptions.
So maybe his dad's strategy worked.
Yeah. We'll put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
We'll go back and look at the research.
We'll revisit that. Tune into Patreon for that.
In another case, his client was on trial for petty larceny, and Guiteau spent the entire case rambling about religion and theology. His client lost the case.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay on topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not a lot of people were coming to him for lawyering.
Yeah. He's just like in front of a jury going, you know what I think, man? Just like, what's up with like food? You know? Like,
What else? Starts doing crowd work with the jury.
Yeah. Hey, how's the food out there? Then he spent most of his time as a bill collector. He got married in 1869 to a librarian. His life would later describe his time as a bill collector as mostly theft of the collections, rarely giving full payment back to his clients.
Skimming off the top.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you're but if you're doing, collecting on debts, it's like, well, they're already deadbeats. You can say they didn't pay.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
They paid a little.
Yeah.
Some.
He then went around as a traveling evangelist. That was a complete failure. He would go town to town, skipping out on his bills because he claimed he was doing the Lord's work, and he didn't have to pay for room, board, meals.
Mm-hmm.
Despite no one showing up for his preaching, or they would leave early when they did. He didn't become well known.
Bless you, Angel.
Sorry.
He didn't become well known for his preaching.
Mm.
Though at one point he does get a crowd of about 50 people when he's in Newark to hear his lecture titled "Is There a Hell?" The Newark.
Everybody's like, please say no.
Well,
Everyone's like, it's Newark.
Yeah. Is there somewhere we can move to?
Hell would be an upgrade. Please God, let there be a hell.
The Newark Daily Journal wrote an article about his event. The headline read, "Is there a hell? 50 deceived people are of the opinion there ought to be."
50 deceived people?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't follow that really.
So 50 people going for a cool sermon or something left going, if there is a hell, that guy needs to be in it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's just a good review.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Wow. So eventually he started running from bill collectors himself. And Guiteau and his wife moved to New York City, and he started following politics, specifically the New York Democratic Party, becoming a supporter of Horace Greeley, who was then running against U.S. Grant for the presidency in 1872.
I see.
It was Grant's second term. Guiteau wrote a rambling speech in support of Greeley, but was only allowed to perform it once. And he strongly believed that the speech was so good that if Greeley won, Greeley would appoint him as an ambassador to Chile. They had never met.
Why would he assume Chile?
Yeah, cool place.
Fucking weird, man.
There's never an explanation given for why he thought Chile.
Wow.
No bill collectors.
Yes, brilliant.
Yeah.
In 1874, his wife demanded a divorce because he was verbally and physically abusing her. If she disagreed with him, he would lock her in a closet. Multiple times he threw her out of the room in front of other tenants, locked the door, and they would be on the run a lot.
From the bill collector.
Yeah, and often she would have to go back and be like, "Can I just take my one dress? We're on the run. You guys mind if I just take my one
Jesus,
dress?"
seriously?
Yeah.
She had one dress?
Well, they get whittled down every time you run off.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You start with 12.
Yeah.
And you visit 11 boarding houses.
That's true. Yeah. Everything can fit in a little picnic basket.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, the 1870s America, it's railroads, if you can afford them.
Mm-hmm.
Sprawling little cities.
Tuberculosis.
Plenty of weird diseases. Yeah.
Plenty.
Not like now. And she asked for a divorce in 1874. He responded to this demand by having sex with a prostitute. And then at the divorce hearing, the prostitute testified against him because of the infidelity.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Did he not?
Maybe that's why she testified against him.
Yeah.
And even not.
Yeah.
Can you trust this guy?
What a goon.
Of course he's getting divorced.
He was following the Never Nut Manifesto.
Well,
It was a negging trick.
Yeah, some people are ahead of their time.
Yep.
Yeah. Or behind. Hard to say which.
Should have been selling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the divorce, he moves to Wisconsin to live with his sister and her husband.
Oh God, what a delight!
And yeah, he's not getting better. He has fits of anger. Not great with the chores, as you can imagine.
No, he does not like that shit.
No. And he at one point his sister picks up a piece of firewood that he'd thrown to the ground, and when she looks up, he's standing over her with an axe above his head.
Oh God!
Ready to bring it down on her, and she
His own sister?
Yeah. And she looked at him and she said, "He looked at me like a wild animal." And his crazy eyes. She said she didn't really think he would kill her, but he had the look of a man who was insane.
Yeah, he's dying to get thrown out again.
Yeah. And so she met up with, I think, a doctor and a lawyer, and they were going to have him brought to Chicago and be declared insane and put in a mental facility.
Easy gig.
Yeah.
4 hots, 3 hots and a cot.
Yeah. Yeah, it might have been great for him, as we later discover.
Could have been it's the best thing he had going.
It really could have been. It really could have been. But I don't know if he gets word of it or he just has a sense of when's a good time to leave.
He's like, the vibe is all off.
Yeah, ever since I held an axe above my sister's
which is like, you know what I mean? Like, do it or don't lift it at all. Lifting
Maybe he
it.
was trying to chop the wood.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he's a very angry fella.
Yeah.
Yeah. He slipped off in the middle of the night before they could bring him in. He was on the run again.
Start getting a sixth sense about those things. Like,
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
something's about to happen. There's like a bill collector, or I'm going to be locked up as a loony. Something's going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
He took everyone else's advice and got out.
Yeah, he's finally learning what they wanted him to do the whole time. And he then publishes a book on religion called The Truth.
Uh-huh.
It's a companion to the Bible, it says.
Oh.
It opens with this preface. A new line of thought runs through this book. It is my contribution to the civilization of the race. And the author asks for a careful attention to the end, that many souls may find the Savior. It's just a complete plagiarization of a book by Noyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And at this point, after this, Guiteau's father starts to believe his son is possessed by Satan.
Satan himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Not Pazuzu or whatever from The Exorcist.
No.
Yeah.
No, the devil himself showed up for this guy.
Okay.
It's the opposite of perfection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the sister probably told the dad about the axe incident, and then everywhere he goes, he's hated or persecuted, and he fucks everybody over. So, it's not a bad theory.
Back then?
Yeah. Satan up to some mischief here on Earth.
Mhm.
Yeah. Plus convenient.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the beatings.
Yeah, it also justifies your many beatings of your son.
Yeah, right.
See, I knew it.
I was a bit ahead.
I was onto this years ago.
I was beating the devil out of him.
Yeah. And see what happens when I stop?
Yeah. People said, quote unquote, it's wrong. I said, okay.
I think Satan's wrong, pal.
Okay.
Suit yourself.
Mm-hmm. He then moves to Boston and becomes an insurance salesman. He fails at that. And, of course, he starts racking up more debt before he flees town. But not before getting involved with the Republican Party in Boston.
Party switch.
Specifically, the stalwart section of the Republican Party. Now, around this time, the Republican Party had broken up into two defined sections and one just section that wasn't part of this group. There's the stalwarts and the half-breeds. And it wasn't a racial thing. It was just based on their beliefs in their own ideas, republicanism. And the stalwarts were more about a patronage system and civil service. And, of course, the patronage system is very nice if your guy wins.
What is it to explain the patronage?
So the patronage system is basically if you are a patron of this politician, when he wins, he puts all of his patrons
right
into office or with jobs.
Yeah.
So like now.
Yeah, they get the cushy hookups.
Yeah.
And whereas the half-breeds would go for...
The half-breeds did not approve of the patronage system. And I don't remember their views on civil service, but these were kind of like the two big factions of the Republican Party at the time.
I see.
And they were split with, I believe, Grant was part of the stalwart group. And then Chester A. Arthur was part of the stalwart group. And so around this time, the stalwarts are around from 1872 till 1890.
Okay.
And then just kind of faded away and just became regular Republicans. Now, June 11th, 1880, Guiteau is on the deck of the SS Stonington passenger steamship as it heads from Boston to New York. The SS Stonington had a sister ship, the SS Narragansett, and they would run this same route back and forth, passing each other in the night.
To and fro.
And on this night, in June 11th, 1880, there's a heavy fog. And the Stonington, the accounts differ. Each side blames the other. But according to Destiny of the Republic, the Stonington was sitting near the shore in the fog, waiting for it to pass, and did not hear any other foghorns or anything coming. And Guiteau's standing on the deck. When out of the fog comes the Narragansett.
Yeah.
253 feet long. And it slams at full speed.
Oh, shit.
Into the Stonington.
Whoa. Now nobody can get nowhere.
Yeah. Well, even worse than that. So as it hits and this collision happens, people are thrown just out of their bunks into the dark waters. The engine of the Narragansett explodes.
Holy shit.
Because it's a coal boiler or what?
I'm not entirely sure, but something about maybe it's cold because they're making the steam and
you got fire.
Yeah, and the deck of the Gansett was freshly oiled.
Oh.
That caught fire, and the fire ran the entire length of the ship almost immediately.
Damn.
253 feet fireball.
So you got to jump in the water.
If you can. A lot of people who were asleep at the time just
never got out.
Couldn't get out. One guy was thrown from his bunk through a hole into the water.
Thank God.
And who knows if they if he was recovered.
He probably paid extra for that room.
An escape hatch.
Probably had bill collectors after him. It's like they might show up on the Narragansett. Can I get this room looks good.
Yeah, it's a good jumping room.
In event of emergency, you'll be flung into the ocean. So the Narragansett, the Gansett, is 253 feet long. It's completely on fire. They're in Long Island Sound, and it's just pure blackness.
Yeah.
And it's just this one giant 253-foot torch.
No lighthouses?
No.
Oh, except the ship that's on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'll do.
That'll light it up for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see now. And I'm staying warm. This ain't so bad.
And the scenes that are happening are now just madness. And Guiteau is still standing on the deck of the Stonington. It has not flung him off.
Yeah, he's still chilling.
Yeah.
And he's going, this is like hell? Some kind of religious experience?
I mean, for him, everything turned out it kind of was. So people are screaming. They're throwing their children overboard. They're throwing themselves overboard into the dark water. The boat, the Gansett, burns all the way straight down to the waterline, where it just promptly then sinks.
Jesus, fuck.
Somewhere between at least 30 people and as many as 80 died. As the ship was sinking, a young man took out a revolver and shot himself.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'll be doing it.
Yeah.
Clearly did not know how to swim.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then also, too, like, nobody's coming.
To save you?
Yeah, like, you're going to freeze out there or whatever.
Yeah, they probably, maybe they have a Morse code.
Well, it's hard to say. Eventually, word does get around, but it's June 11th.
Word gets around about this fucking anarchy.
Well, I imagine there's someone on the shore going, there's a lot of fire in the water.
Yeah, some guy smoking a pipe.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll get to it in the morning.
Yeah.
Wait for the sun to tell us what's going on.
But his ship is not sinking.
His ship is not sinking. No, it doesn't sink. But as the Gansett burns and sinks, the water is now filled with people and screams, and again, no lights. Yeah. So people from the Stonington, they get in rowboats and they go out there to find
save
people.
them. Yeah,
but of course they can't see anybody.
Yeah, it's foggy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's fire. You should be able to see.
No,
it sank. Yeah.
Yeah. And they do say, I think they pick up something like 20 people. Some of them die on their way back.
Damn.
But Guiteau is able to. His boat is eventually dragged back to port, but before that, another boat shows up, and all of the passengers get on to this third boat, and they take it back.
Which works, a boat that works.
Yes. But Guiteau, you can only imagine his interpretation of this event.
Free boat. He's like, I'm going to stay here, see if I can get anything out of this.
Squatters' rights. Maritime law.
He sees it more that it's further evidence that he is working for God, and God is keeping him safe, and he figures he'll take this ordainment, this divine ordainment, and get further into politics.
Okay.
Because he has a purpose.
Yes.
Whatever it is at the time.
Okay.
Now, so we get to the 1880 election. U.S. Grant is running for his third term. He had served 2 terms consecutively, and then I don't know if it was health or what, but didn't run for a third term. And instead took 4 years off, and now he's running for a third term.
Okay.
And the stalwarts supported him for that third term. And Winfield Scott Hancock he was going to be the Democrats' front runner. And Guiteau wrote a speech titled "Grant Against Hancock." This is the speech that's going to make him famous.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And during the Republican convention, the votes are split between Grant and Senator James G. Blaine and Treasury Secretary John Sherman. Blaine is, I believe he's on the half-breed part of the side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 200 for Grant, 200 for Blaine, 60 for Sherman. And so they don't have a winner yet. And this goes on for 35 more votes until Blaine and Sherman decided to combine their votes and give them to James A. Garfield, a U.S. House rep from Ohio. He's a great speaker. People seem to like him.
Wow.
I believe he was also a Civil War general along with Hancock. Seems like a good fit. People were tired of Grant and the gold corruption and such from his second term.
Uh-huh.
And
didn't he also get pulled over for speeding?
Grant did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one that we get pulled over for speeding in D.C., yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a black mark on your record, you know?
Mhm.
A bit.
Now, Garfield wins the Republican nomination, and Guiteau rewrites his speech, entitles it Garfield against Hancock. It's the exact same speech. He just replaces Grant's name with Garfield in all of the instances.
Smart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because he's got a diss track lined up.
Yeah, right.
Very, very nice.
He goes around to all of these conventions going, I got a speech. I want to make a speech.
Yo, check me out. Starts doing that.
Yeah, pretty
They're
much.
not like us. They're not like us.
And he passes copies around. At most, he was allowed to make the speech twice.
People hate him.
According to Jay Bellamy, the party leaders were so annoyed with his insistence on giving the speech that in one instance they caved and let him give a speech with Garfield standing next to him.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't in the book by Millard, but take his word for it.
Garfield movie out this month, by the way. See it in IMAX.
Oh, in the Garfield apartment, the hotel rooms.
Yeah.
California, yeah.
Motel 6.
Yeah.
And you can bring your dogs and cats at Motel 6.
Mhm.
Garfield.
You can stay in a hotel room. I think you got lasagna in the
That's cool.
fridge or whatever. Probably Stouffer's or something. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
not bad.
But hey, not bad. Motel 6? Come on. It's all right. Garfield room, little Garfield pillows everywhere.
Aw.
Portraits of Odie.
Portraits?
Yeah.
What about Normal? Something Normal.
Normal might be in the bathroom.
Right above the toilet.
So Guiteau, again, he thinks this is a grand speech, deserving of praise, and but Garfield wins the presidency, and Guiteau believes that he's largely responsible for Garfield's
of
win.
course. Makes so much sense.
And even he writes to him, and he says,
Hey, what the frig? I hope you get elected, dude.
Yeah,
You owe me shit.
yeah.
Yeah. What do I get? Chile?
Well, I mean, that was his first. That was the original. He writes to Garfield, and he says on account of my service during the canvass, that he believes that he should be awarded a consulship in Vienna, and then he changes his mind and says, actually, no, Paris would be cool.
Okay. Now this is important, I guess. Do you know if Garfield was a stalwart?
No, Garfield was neither,
Okay.
and that's why
That's why they chose him.
yes,
Got it. Okay. So he says Paris would be cool.
yeah. He said Vienna would be cool.
Vienna would be cool,
but
but
actually,
I'll settle for Paris.
yeah, I'm more of a Paris guy
Paris
myself.
is beautiful.
My last name, it's French.
Guiteau?
Yeah.
Vienna is beautiful too.
Very true, Aaron. I'm glad you said that.
Mhm.
I don't want any wrongs to go down. We do have listeners in Austria.
Now, and so he started sending letters to Garfield all the time, to Secretary of State Blaine, who was originally one of those candidates, and basically writing to anybody in the administration as he can. At the time, at the White House, you could just show up and stand in line.
Yeah.
And if the president had time, he would meet with you.
Hey, how's it going?
Shows you his big wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Check this shit out.
It stinks.
Yeah. It's so wild because, Lincoln had been shot. It's wild. You can wait in line and shoot the president.
Right.
Your turn.
And Lincoln's son, Robert Todd, was part of the cabinet for Garfield.
Okay.
And so Garfield would later, he wrote in his diary something to the effect of it, and I'm paraphrasing here, it boggles my mind how many fucking people want me to just hand them shit. He's like, they keep stabbing me with paper.
Uh-huh.
They just keep showing up every day going, hey, you got any jobs for me? I'm a nice guy. And so he would just have to deal with this every day almost.
Garfield.
Yeah.
People asking for jobs.
Yeah, showing up, standing in the hallway.
Well, these presidents do say they're going to get us jobs.
Yeah, it's very like a king holding court.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly that.
It's
Yeah.
like, my crops are dying.
You're right.
The dragon ate my goat.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, give him a goat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of that. And they're just lining up in the White House. Who knows how long it could stretch down the block. And so Guiteau is just on, like, every day he just shows up to stand in line. And he meets with the president a couple times. And one time he meets with the president and he gives him his Garfield against Hancock speech. And he sits down. It's a rather long speech, I believe. And Garfield's reading it, and this goes on for 5 or 6 minutes. And then wordlessly, Guiteau just gets up and leaves.
Why?
That no one says. There's no. Maybe he thought he had done his part. Maybe he couldn't stand the suspense.
Maybe when the president was reading his letter aloud, he wrote it, Charles, get out. Like, all right, you're the president, you're the boss.
Damn. Maybe there was a bill collector.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh,
Gotta go.
oh, Secretary of Treasury. Shit. And so, but, he left, and when he didn't get his consulship, he continued writing letters, writing more letters to Blaine, asking again for the consulship. And at one point, he shows up to a White House reception, introduces himself to the president's wife, and says that he's one of the men that made Garfield president.
Along with all the voters?
Yeah, yeah. But none of them had a speech like his,
Yeah.
And and at this point, he had no money.
No money.
Yeah, and he's just writing letters, walking around. His clothes are tattered. He in the snow-covered DC streets, already filthy. He doesn't have a coat, a hat, or boots. At times, he would wear rubbers on his feet just to cover up the fact that he didn't have any boots.
Like rubber
Rubbers?
boots?
Like rubbers, sandals, or soles.
Okay.
Damn.
Not condoms.
No.
Not Johnny's.
Jimmy hats.
Jimmy hats.
He would just skip from one rooming house to another. Anytime he did get a plate of food at a boarding house, quote, other guests recalled him eating with a savage determination and a distinct reluctance to pass the plates. Just a real go-getter.
He doesn't like doing chores, this guy.
No.
Pass the plate? Maybe you, bro.
And so he started, he would go to like hotels in the area and stay in the lobbies and read the discarded newspapers to kind of keep track of the comings and goings of the administration.
You gotta stay hip.
Yeah.
They gotta let you in the lobby.
That's right.
Yeah. Sorry.
And he would use the free hotel stationery to write letters. And sometimes if he could time it correctly, he could run into some cabinet members and tell them about his plans and how how much work he did. And in May of 1881, Guiteau, he'd been following Secretary of State Blaine and asking about the consulship, and it eventually just gets to the point where Blaine tells him, "Never speak to me about this again as long as you live."
The subject is over for eternity.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And he
well, he's like looks like he fucking got blown away in a tsunami.
yeah, he's not.
Like you're like,
He's not dressed for
yo,
success.
I gotta get that consulship. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he got shot out of a fucking cannon. You know?
Yeah. And I believe at this time he would write in his letters that, I mean, he had been stalking a rich woman, and he
can keep memoirs though.
He had been writing in his letters
Well, he
that
has all that free stationery.
he'd been writing in his letters that he'd be perfect for the consulship because he was about to marry this rich woman. But he was merely following her around.
Well, that's half the battle.
I think if you follow someone around long enough, it's like a common law.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, hey, didn't I see you somewhere? You're like, yeah, I think you did.
I saw you. You didn't see me.
After getting told off by Blaine, Guiteau tells him that he'll see the president about this. And he wrote a bunch of letters to Garfield telling him to fire Blaine. And one of them stating, otherwise you and the Republican Party will come to grief. And at this point now, the president's secretary was ordered to never let Mr. Guiteau into the White House ever again.
And anybody can go there.
Yeah, that's
fucking political glory hole.
Not this guy.
Yeah.
Taking on all comers. It's up to you, bro.
Well, he doesn't come.
You got to get out.
So, Charles Guiteau then spends the next few weeks, presumably running from boarding house to boarding house, but also praying on it. And it comes to him, he arrives at a divine conclusion. It comes to him, quote, like a flash. Oh. And let's take a little break. We'll come back and we'll tell you what that,
Neat.
that flash was.
I love suspense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm just going to get up and go. All right, folks, we'll be right back. And we're back.
Hey.
So he has a revelation, this fellow.
He certainly does.
I should run for the presidency.
Kind of. So he prayed on for a few weeks. He came to a divine conclusion, arrived, quote, like a flash. And it was this. If the president was out of the way, everything would be better. He had to kill Garfield so Chester A. Arthur, a stalwart, could become president and finally appoint him to a consulship.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Appoint the guy who killed your boss?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think it makes sense?
If you're him.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Fucking doolally.
Because he really thinks that people love him.
Yeah.
He thinks that he hasn't done anything wrong.
Damn.
That he's
Wasn't he at all those criticism meetings?
Well, that's why he left, John. They didn't get it.
They were all wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he put some thought into this.
Dangerous.
How much thought?
Well, I suppose not a lot of thought, but he comes to the conclusion that he shouldn't use a knife because Garfield could knock him out with one punch. He was a short man. He's about 5'7".
All right, we're just going down the list. Knife? No.
And then in parentheses, punch.
They described 5'7" with narrow shoulders. Not a big man.
Slight.
Yeah. And so he figures he's got to shoot the man.
Get some distance.
But of course he doesn't have any money, so he borrows $15 from a relative, or $10 depending on which account. And he goes to the gun store, and the gun store owner would later say that he didn't really ask for anything specific. He just
Not a phase 3 plasma rifle.
Yeah. He just asked for. He's like, what are these? How about these? And he chose a .442 Webley caliber British Bulldog revolver, and he chose the one with ivory grips because he thought he'd look better in a museum.
Oh, wow, dude.
But he couldn't afford the extra $1 for the ivory grips, but the gun owner was nice enough to drop the price for him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lucky for you, pal, we got a special.
Hey, man, I'm going to kill the president with this.
Yeah. No.
Then the gun store's famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barely a shirt, no shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got a gun.
Priorities.
And he asked, he's like, where can I practice shooting this? I've never shot a gun before. As the guy tells him, well, you got to get out of the city limits. You can't shoot guns in the city limits. You can go down to the Potomac, the river, and you can shoot it there. And the first time he shoots it, it knocks him backwards, and he almost knocks himself unconscious with the kickback.
This is just a handgun, right?
Yeah, but apparently it's one of the strongest guns at the time.
Uh-huh.
And so eventually, he fires off about 10, 15 shots or so, and feels comfortable enough to.
Jesus Christ. Cartoon.
Yes. Yeah, he spends a few weeks practicing his head. And so once he was comfortable with that, now it was time to stalk the president.
Yes.
And he tracks his schedule with hotel newspapers or waiting outside of the White House. And at one point, he even finds Garfield leaves a meeting and is just strolling down the street and meets up with Secretary of State Blaine. And there's no guards, and they're just strolling through D.C., and he could kill the two guys who had been causing him all these problems, and he just loses his nerve and doesn't do it.
Damn.
At one point, he follows Garfield to a train station. I believe it was the Washington and Baltimore, something like that. It's since been torn down. A station that Garfield wanted torn down because when his son died, they brought his son back to the station where he picked up the body, and so he always had these bad memories of that station.
Yeah.
But
let's get rid of this.
Guiteau follows him there, but then he sees Garfield is sending his wife off on a vacation, and she's been sick, and Guiteau says, okay, I won't kill him in front of his wife, and maybe she'll die of
heartache.
Heartache, yeah. Or, whatever else was going around back then.
Yeah.
Typhus.
And so then he waits some more and stalks some more, and then July 2nd, 1881, he shows back up at the station because Garfield is going to take a vacation. And he gets to the station early, and he has some time to waste, so he gets his shoes shined because he figured that would be...
Did he get some shoes?
Yeah, apparently, at some point, in all of this, he got some shoes.
Okay, good.
Decides to get them shined so he looks better.
Mm-hmm.
Figures he's going to have to flee, so goes out and asks all the cab drivers, or carriage drivers, can one of you get me a ride from here in, I don't know, an hour?
Uh-huh.
And they say, sure, it'll be $2. And he goes, well, okay, well.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that later. And...
Well, he also has a gun. He can just be like, drive! What's he worried about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so there was this one lady there. Her name was Mrs. White, and I don't know if she worked at the station, but she would recount later that she saw him just being weird, just going into the bathroom, coming out, wandering around, going back into the bathroom, coming out, going through one door, going through another door, just constantly just
going to the bathroom, just chubbing up. He's like, you can do this.
Don't come.
You can do this. Don't come. Being weird. Just, yeah. That people pick up on that.
Yeah. Stands out.
Yeah. Elliot's dad used to tell him all the time.
That's right.
Stop that.
Don't be so weird.
And Elliot loved you. Well.
So then eventually Garfield does show up and starts making his way through the station. And he's with his, I think his two teenage sons, and he's there to meet Secretary of War Robert Todd Lincoln. And as he walks past, it's kind of an empty room, and Guiteau steps out of the shadows and fires at Garfield. The first shot, it grazes off his shoulder, and Garfield cries out, "My God, what is this?"
I practiced for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's assassination, you dumb fuck. My God, what is this? What a question.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill the president. I mean, come on.
It just happened to the other guy.
Yeah, this is in vogue right now.
And there's an ambassador who's in the train station at the time. I don't know if it was an ambassador from Peru or I want to say Chile.
Yeah.
I forget where he's
Ironically.
And he recounts that he saw Guiteau come out and step, and he said the first shot, poise, brave. You could tell there's determination, and you knew that he was in charge of what he was doing. And then he said the second shot, absolute cowardice and chaos. His whole face had changed.
Yeah. He was like, oh, I fucked it up.
I thought this was the first time.
I didn't think about 2 shots. But Guiteau then shoots him again. This time, he does hit. And
how many shots were fired?
2 shots.
Okay.
The second shot misses the spinal cord, Garfield's spinal cord, but lodges behind his pancreas. They both hit him. They both hit him in the back, or the second one hits in the back. Damn. And Guiteau is gonna flee, but he's immediately apprehended by just the crowd.
Yeah.
And there's some cops there. And Guiteau yells, "I'm the stalwart of the stalwarts."
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
And they let him go.
And he said, "Arthur is president now."
Ah.
And the crowd at the station
decided to whip his ass.
Well, they had converged on him and they were going to lynch him.
Yeah. It sounds like the usual response this guy gets.
They could have tied him to the train tracks.
Yeah.
And then twisted their mustaches.
Yeah, because he already goes flying when he shoots a gun. You might as well do more fucking Wile E. Coyote shit to this guy.
And but there were police officers at the station, and they protected him from getting lynched, and eventually bundled him out of there. Garfield was at first he seemed like he was fine, and then he started feeling worse, and
yeah, man, the bullet's inside of him.
They brought him. I don't know. I can't remember if it was to the White House or to some room, and they called the closest doctor they could call was a man named Charles Purvis. He was a surgeon in chief at the Freedmen's Hospital, and he ordered blankets wrapped around Garfield and hot water bottles on his feet and legs. Charles Purvis, incidentally,
that'll do it.
Gunshot.
Somebody make him comfortable.
Yeah,
make him cozy.
Yeah, the trauma center was just fucking. Give him a little pillow.
Well, they don't know how bad the gunshot is yet. Also, here's
the gunshot.
Well, you know,
it's not gonna be one of those ones we just don't talk about later.
I mean, today's gunshots are a little bit more destructive than they were back then.
Yeah, but they also know this is the most powerful gun.
They don't know what gun. They just know that
they haven't found out where it's lodged yet.
Right. They just know there's a lead ball in him.
Fuck.
And Charles Purvis, incidentally, is the first black doctor to ever treat a president of the United States.
Nice.
Wow.
And also, I should say, Robert Todd Lincoln, he had seen his father die. He had seen James Garfield shot. And he was also present when McKinley was shot.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
This guy can't get enough.
No, he doesn't need to.
Has anybody looked into his?
Yeah. I mean, seems awfully convenient, huh?
He just smile. He's doing this rubbing his hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
One time I don't have it.
It's okay.
Somehow it still works, even if it's 30 seconds later. Works for me. Robert Todd Lincoln then he calls a man named Dr. Willard Bliss, Dr. D. Willard Bliss, who was one of the doctors who had tried to treat his father. Willard Bliss at this point had gone through trials and tribulations. He felt ashamed for not being able to save Lincoln, and then he was run out of the American medical community for agreeing that there should be black doctors. And then he got into a herbal medicine scheme. I think it's called like Kermuddian or something. I forget what it is, but it was a South American herb that they would believe cure cancer and everything.
Damn.
And he started advertising it.
Yeah.
Coca leaf.
Yeah.
But he arrives and he takes over. He says he stops everybody from doing everything and he takes over. And
from Purvis.
Yeah, from everybody.
Yeah.
The first thing he does is he takes a probe out of his bag and he puts it into Garfield to poke around to find where the bullet is. It's one of these probes that when you touched bone, nothing changed, but if you touched a lead ball, it would leave a little mark on the probe, so you think, okay, we found it.
Interesting.
Because they figured, let's find the bullet, we'll deal with that.
Smart.
And he's fiddling around with the probe, and then...
Oh, right around the spinal cord?
Yeah.
And he goes to pull it out, and it's stuck on one of Garfield's fractured ribs.
Think.
And so in order to get it out, he presses down on Garfield's ribs to dislodge
Jesus Christ.
But he didn't find the bullet, so he goes to his second option. So he takes his little finger and sticks it in the wound.
No.
Licks it first.
It doesn't matter whether he licked it or not, because he was a firm disbeliever in Joseph Lister's theories on infection.
Yes, smart. And did they try to shoot it out?
Yeah, just put another gun barrel there.
I mean,
maybe
it makes
kind of carry.
Yeah. We'll be done with this in a few minutes, pal.
When
You'll be.
When he didn't find the bullet with his finger, Purvis went to him and was like, no, stop. We're done. Bliss completely ignored him, went into his bag and found a curvy probe and proceeded to insert that to find the bullet. He was not successful.
And now he's had his guts rearranged by these fucking probes and fingers.
They would later use a new device from Alexander Graham Bell, a form of metal detector.
Wow.
To I believe, if I remember, that they had an idea of where the bullet was, but they weren't totally sure.
Yeah.
But it was, it was a new invention at the time. You get the best and brightest together. And anyway, 11 weeks after being shot, Garfield died from an infection.
Damn.
It was a long, slow, painful process with multiple times he seemed like he was fine. But doctors would starve him, give him different remedies and concoctions.
Fuck.
And I don't think they ever found the bullet. And he eventually, his fever, just his last day, his fever went off the charts, and he died of an infection.
Shit.
Most believe now that he would have survived with just a simple sterile treatment.
The bullet would have just stayed there and been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if one of the guys washed their hands a little bit.
Yeah. Candace Millard, in her book, she writes that he would have survived if nothing was done.
Damn.
Other suggestions are that he is overly starved. An article from the American Journal of Surgery.
What thinking is that?
Well, starve the infection, or
Yeah.
There's an article in the American Journal of Surgery in 2013 that made the case that he had a late rupture of a splenic artery because the bullet was right near the spleen.
Or like when he pushed down on the whole
maybe,
area,
yeah.
fuck things
But
up
a late
bit.
rupture of the splenic artery, and that his gallbladder had also ruptured right before he died. But Garfield is just another in a long line of U.S. presidents killed by their own doctor, like George Washington and, of course,
Michael Jackson.
JFK.
JFK?
Yeah.
Oh, he shot him.
No. They didn't do anything to save the guy.
Yeah, well, half his brain was on the back seat.
That's true.
That's more on the manufacturers. the car guys and the doctors, really.
Yeah.
They could have had a zombie JFK. That
Big auto.
Yeah, brain dead JFK.
Well, there's one running now, so.
So he finally got there.
Yeah. This guy's got a worm through his fucking head. And he's running. God
He's got a
damn.
constant game of Snake going on in there.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. He's trying to, it's more stuff where he's trying to align himself with his father and JFK by saying, I got
a hole in my head.
A hole in my head.
What the hell?
Basically the same deal.
I guess I'm my father's. Oh, he's Bobby's son, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck? What kind of probe would they have to find the fucking worm? You gotta get.
Well, you just get a brain with more good ideas and put it near it, and the worm would just.
You just put an apple on his ear.
Exactly. Yeah. Sure. The worm get its way out.
Yeah.
Also, in 1881, the year Garfield died, the Oneida community dissolved. Coincidence? Yes, it's coincidence.
Sounds
Oh,
like a
okay.
coincidence,
Yeah. John Humphrey Noyes, I think he had his son take over, and his son was like, I'm pretty agnostic. I don't really give a shit about this place.
Really?
Just make plates.
Yeah, and they started making silverware and made tons of money. They're like one of the biggest silverware distributors or manufacturers.
That's so weird. How did they get into that?
Yeah, manual labor.
Yeah, and people work for free. Yeah, it's a cult.
Yeah.
No,
well,
sure.
it's the love, There's
Yeah.
the love and the not coming. If you're not coming, that's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
No rest.
I mean, we're all basically working to nut anyway.
And nothing to work.
Yeah.
I mean, on the way.
On the way to work?
Huh?
Nutting on the way to work during the commute.
Yeah.
During the morning commute.
Well, if you're on public transit, it's a lot easier.
It's very cool on public transit.
Guiteau, in jail, he wrote letters to Chester A. Arthur telling him who to pick for his cabinet and saying that he awaited. And while he's in jail, he believed that they were going to give him a bail figure and that his adoring fans would pay the figure and he would go out and get on a speaking tour, and he made plans to take a wife and reap the rewards from his big deed. That didn't happen.
I understand that. Yeah.
They don't give you a bail when you shoot the president.
He was almost fucking lynched.
Yeah.
Thinks everybody loves him still?
Yeah. He seemed to believe the American public was on his side until one day a prison guard took a shot at him, saying the prison guard would later serve 8 years for this and say, I just couldn't stand seeing that dog. I didn't want to have to protect him.
Wow.
When you say took a shot, you mean like fisticuffs?
No.
A bullet?
A bullet at him. And
shit.
People were wondering if Guiteau could escape. He was actually staying in the jail cell Houdini broke out of.
Pay some attention.
Yeah, and he did not. But he didn't ever think about escaping. He loved it in prison.
Right.
Like you were saying, he was clothed and fed. He had a routine.
Well, and he probably assumes there's going to be a pardon?
Yes, he assumes Chester A. Arthur will pardon him because Arthur's president.
No, I mean, you got to put yourself in the narcissistic mind and be like, well, my pardon's coming. In the meantime, I'm fed.
Yeah.
There's clothes.
I got this guy his job.
Yeah.
I deserve the pardon.
Yeah. I don't have to put these condoms on my feet anymore. You fucking idiot. Stomping around in the snow.
He actually, for the first time in a long time, he gained weight.
In prison?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how he did on the chow line with the fucking... He was going like, hey, man, come on, let's go. He's just like, I'm chilling.
The
rice.
The public had other ideas about what to do with him. One person, people wrote into the newspapers different ways they could kill him. One person said they should throw him to a pack of dogs.
Oh, good. Oh, that's good. That's a good letter section. Mm-hmm. What should we do with this Guiteau guy? They're like, well, I breed dogs, sir. And
they're hungry.
Yeah.
The most inventive one was someone wrote that they should feed him to himself, 2 ounces of his own flesh every day.
Oh my God!
I love this letter
Sent in by H. Lecter.
Yeah, real creative populace.
This is in
1881.
I mean,
people are really working their 7 muscle here.
Yeah.
Like that thing where you got to cut your own pound of flesh off. And
dude, that's so gnarly.
Somebody
should look into whoever wrote that suggestion.
Yeah, you're right.
And put them on a list.
I mean, but like, yeah, you could really freestyle with punishment when it was a guy like this.
This is basically a good Reddit thread.
Yeah,
very, yeah. And people taking the time to write a letter. You know what I mean? Like really go like.
Yeah. There's no typewriters. They're
you know what I think we should do with them?
Letters.
Like. Again, a great way to advertise your business, though. Like, well, I breed horses, and we can quarter them. See?
Fuck them.
I make fine Oneida silverware, and our knives are great for cutting off pounds of flesh at a time.
Yeah.
To feed to oneself.
What if one of the guy goes, hey, what if we got like a medical professional there to spit on his finger and, like, put a hole in him?
Get him
so
sick.
It's just like Garfield. You know what I mean? Like, we make him have the same fate as Garfield.
We rub his hand in the latrine, and then we stick his fingers in various holes and see what happens.
Yeah. What if we have him put on weight in prison? See? Then we put him down a hole,
get him nice,
starve him a bit, make a little suit out of him, right?
Yeah.
Put lotion on his skin, stuff like that.
Or else he gets the hose.
Like how it goes.
There was about a split second when you said give him the Garfield, and I was like, The cat?
yeah.
That cat will drive him crazy.
Yeah. We'll fill him full of lasagna, see? And then we tell him it's Monday.
And he hates.
And he'll just blow his own brains out. He's got the gun.
The kickback's a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I miss.
Yeah. They just have him in a firing range with a wall full of spikes behind him, so he just gets impaled when he shoots. These are all good ideas.
These are, yeah.
These are very good ideas.
He's shooting the noisy cricket. Oh boy, what an asshole.
So after Garfield died, Guiteau was then charged with murder. His trial began in November, less than 2 months after Garfield's death. They had been holding him. I don't know if they had been holding him. Well, I know they had trouble finding jurors. They had to go through like something like 130 plus jurors because
everybody knew about it.
Yes, and he was very hated.
Yeah.
Especially after he was arrested and word got out. Like the Chicago Tribune in 1881 had this pages and pages of dispatches to other newspapers that was sent to them of like, here's what I remember about this guy.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a lot of the stuff I read earlier about like no morality whatsoever.
They have no morality. Do anything. Fuck a dog.
Hang out with a cat.
Yeah.
And Garfield.
Now, Guiteau demanded to represent himself, of course.
Oh, yeah, that's the real deal.
But the judge insisted that he has a lawyer and appoints him one. The lawyer lasted...
Nobody wants to hear him talk.
The lawyer lasted less than a week before retiring. And...
From the practice?
I'm not sure if it was the practice or the case, but I like to think it was the practice.
I'm giving up law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guiteau then has his brother-in-law take the job. His brother-in-law's expertise was in land titles and patent work. But I can't imagine anybody else was dying to represent this guy.
No.
And so what they did is they hired a
I'm the man that got get out off.
I got him off.
I got him out.
He never gets off either.
Yeah. It's a man of contradictions.
It really is. They hired a psychiatrist to pursue an insanity defense because that had worked a few years earlier with, I forget, an attempted assassin. I forget who it was.
That must have been very early.
Yes. This was like the...
In the... what would you call it? The implementation of that defense.
Yes, very, and he wasn't called a psychiatrist. He was called an alienist. That was the term at the time.
Oh, whoa!
And
Ancient?
yeah, but the public was not a fan of the insanity defense because this last person.
No, they are not.
Someone else
got their own ideas.
Oh, you know what it was? It was the guy who killed Francis Scott Key's son. And claimed insanity.
What about the guy that killed the Francis Scott Key Bridge?
He claimed lights out.
Oh.
He claimed electricity. And so the public was very against anybody getting off of the insanity defense.
Yeah, they started digging a hole and putting water in it. Fucking, they're ready for like way other fucking methods for this guy. Insanity? And like they don't like it's not a time where like they would really have time for that shit. Did it work in the Francis Scott Key son case?
Yes. Well, he only served 4 years.
Wild.
And the psychiatrist that they hired said, Guiteau is not only now insane, but that he was never anything else. A moral monstrosity with the insane manner, a morbid egotist with a tendency to misinterpret the real affairs of his life. All the links in the chain are there, but they are not joined, but rather tossed about hither and thither, singly, like quoits, each one good and strong itself, but without relation to any other. His insanity forces itself constantly to the front, breaking upon his eloquence.
Yeah. It's like, imagine like a racquetball kind of thing, but it's ideas. And they're just bouncing off the walls, and he just gets more balls and keeps him going.
The sound of his humanity is criminal.
Yeah.
The what?
The extent to which he is insane is criminal.
Right.
So, like, you can plead the insanity, but, like, you're so insane, you might as well just get convicted.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Everybody hates you everywhere. It's like, you basically just, like, been proven a bad dude.
Yes, yeah.
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 So the insanity defense is no match to the bad dude offense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you a break for being an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
You can't pathologize being an asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're insane, it doesn't mean we just let you go continue being insane.
Yeah.
Just because. Well, don't worry. He's insane. He's got.
He'll probably do it again. I mean,
Yeah. What's he gonna get up to next?
Yeah.
Follow his adventures.
I mean, Hinckley thought that if he shot Reagan, Jodie Foster would be impressed.
And she was.
This guy thought
She just admitted she
everybody
was.
would be impressed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there was also some belief that syphilis had made him crazy, though there doesn't seem to be any proof of this.
He doesn't nut.
The prosecuting attorney.
Next theory.
Did you come? Nope. Well, you don't have syphilis. The prosecuting attorney countered the insanity claim that he's no more insane than I am. There's nothing of the mad about Guiteau. He's a cool, calculating blackguard, a polished ruffian who has gradually prepared himself to pose in this way before the world. He was a deadbeat, pure and simple. Finally got tired of the monotony of deadbeating. He wanted excitement and other kind of notoriety, and he got it.
Being a deadbeat's getting boring.
Yeah.
What can I do next?
What am I gonna do? Screw over more people's small time? A couple of bucks here and there.
Also, I had to look it up. I did not know this. Blackguard is the original phrase for blackguard.
Yes.
Yeah, which is like the lowest totem of the guard of the castle.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's the real thugs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Scoundrels.
You didn't know that either?
No,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always knew blackguard.
I don't.
I think,
but that's just a British perversion of blackguard.
I thought it was even spelled that way.
Well, it's spelled both now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I always knew it was that.
Okay.
But I
gotta
did.
brush up on
but
my
I didn't-
castle lingo.
I didn't know it was the lowest.
Yes.
I thought it was like the Dark Knight. No.
Wow, I mean, no,
Not that Dark
I see
Knight.
what you mean. John.
Yeah. Like the sketchy
Black Knight.
Yeah.
you know, guy that
The Expendables. I mean, it'll do the job the other won't do.
the guy we need kind of thing.
Yeah, not the one we deserve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guiteau tried to get the court to believe that he was only insane during the shooting, not before,
it.
not before
Temporary
and after. Yeah. Today we'd call it temporary insanity.
Yeah. He go like, me being at the train station, not crazy. Me shooting that was nuts.
Mhm.
That was real nutty shit.
Mm-hmm. When I bought the gun, crazy. When I was shooting it in the river, not crazy. His actions during the trial did not help his case for not being insane. During the trial, he passed a note to the press in which he blamed the doctors for killing Garfield. But
Not wrong.
Not totally wrong.
he also blamed Chester A. Arthur for not coming to his defense.
Right.
He often berated his brother-in-law when his brother was up talking. He once said, "You are a jackass on the question of cross-examination. I must tell you that right in public to your face."
Damn. Guys doing him a favor?
He would attempt to question witnesses from his seat. He attempted to address the judge. Sometimes he would refute testimony from his seat. At one point, upon hearing that a fund was established for the president's wife and children, he announced to the court, he stood up and said, "That's good, but I also should have a fund."
Yeah.
His own lawyer asked the court to silence him.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, his brother-in-law.
And he's not his perception in the public is not getting any favors by doing this.
No, of course not, but he thinks he's in the right and that everybody will recognize.
No, but I'm just saying the brother-in-law is doing a major fucking
Oh, yeah,
solid
no,
here,
the brother-in-law, he's solid, dude.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the Wisconsin one or the one that gave him $15 or what, but, it seemed like the family was always like, well, Charles,
Really?
being a weirdo.
His dad thought he was the devil. How was the rest of the
Well,
family?
no, but his sister, even his sister was like, I don't
the
think.
axe?
I know, but she was like, I didn't think he was going to axe me.
Damn.
So
I know, but it's, I'm not saying they're right.
No, but it's amazing, like, people are pretty good to him.
Maybe the whole family really hated the father,
Maybe?
Mm.
Maybe?
Well, in January 1882, after 2 months of testimony, it took the jury an hour to return with a guilty verdict. The entire courtroom burst into applause.
Oh, no.
It doesn't say if his lawyer did, but...
Woo!
And
Lack of decorum. Wow.
it was a real celebrity trial. They're like Frederick Douglass attended.
The judge is fist pumping.
Yeah.
Crashes to Budweiser.
Yeah. A juror gets her tits out.
Oh, God.
You know,
Yes, ma'am.
You know how long it would take to get your tits out back? It's just...
Yeah, but
also, there's no... It would have been a man, too, because there was no women.
Oh, true. Yeah,
Well, he got his tits out.
he got his tits out,
Yeah.
and he liked it, and it felt good.
Mhm.
After everybody quieted down, Guiteau yelled, "My blood be on the head of the jury. Don't you forget it. This is my answer. God will avenge this outrage." No word if God did.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
You just hear one guy go, "Yeah, all right." But now the blood's got to be boiling in the public. They got to be like so excited to see what way they're going to get rid of it.
Oh, well, it was so...
Who won the contest?
Yeah, it's a sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Well, you bring up something I forgot was that the day of when he shot Garfield, he wrote a letter to General Sherman telling him to get ready and to bring his army to the jail to break him out.
William Tecumseh?
Yeah. And Sherman will later say, "I have never met this man or heard of him in my life." But Sherman did send the army to protect him from people who wanted to storm into the prison and break the walls down and lynch him.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, not a great prison, I guess, if you can storm it like that. But it's, better than the Bastille.
Sherman, fascinating guy, man.
Yes, yes.
You got to handle that maybe sometime on the show.
Yeah. Both, in the bad and the good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting on both sides of the spectrum.
Yes. So he was sentenced in January, or found guilty in January. I don't know when he was. Well, obviously he was sentenced to hang. And so June 30th, spent the next 6 months in jail. On June 30th, 1882, he was brought out to be hanged. He had written a prayer that morning and asked the warden if he could read it. The warden agreed. Then he asked the warden if they would wait to hang him until after he had given a signal, which was him dropping the prayer, and then they could hang him.
Yeah, he's like, hold on, I got some more here on the back.
Wait a minute.
Double-sided.
I just thought of a line.
Epilogue.
What else?
20,000 people requested tickets to it.
Holy shit!
I mean, how often do you get to see the assassin of the president hanged? Well, Booth was in a barn. JFK's doctors were sent back to Cuba.
Right, of course. Yeah.
I don't know who else. Anyway, those ones.
Well, to see an assassin die, it's like, it's just those couple of people in Dallas. Oswald.
Right, yeah.
Get it? But also, it feels like 20,000 is a number that comes also from people now hating this guy in, like, publications around the country. Like, they're like,
I gotta see
They
this.
got, like, we gotta kill Charles Fever. You know what I mean?
The
They're
circus isn't coming to town for a few months. We gotta go see something.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, then they know all the ways that have been floated, so they're extra excited.
Which one is it gonna be?
Yeah, it's like not knowing if it's gonna be a cage match kind of thing, And you're like, might be the pack of dogs thing, might have
Drawn and quartered. Who knows?
250 tickets were issued so they could watch it inside of the prison walls. 1,000 people stood outside waiting for the announcement of his death.
Oh my God.
A contemporary writer at the time wrote that as he exited into the courtyard, Guiteau smiled and waved to the crowd, and as he approached the stairs, he notoriously danced his way up to the gallows. Candace Millard, in her book, writes that he stubbed his toe on the first step.
Shit. How could this thing get any worse?
And he he turned back to the priest or the warden behind him and made a joke about how funny that is that he stubbed his toe on the way to the gallows.
Damn.
Which is, kind of funny.
It is very
that's
funny.
Actual gallows humor.
Mm-hmm. That's very good, Aaron.
It
That's very good.
is. It is. He
Good
goes,
for him.
"Can you believe it?" And he goes, "You know what would knock this pain right out?"
Boy, this feels so bad. I just want to kill him.
Wait, you can. Don't drop that paper.
What a thing that is kind of a saving grace, though. Like you can focus on
With the stub toe.
the stub toe, where you're like, "When will this stop hurting?"
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, boy, can't wait to
And you
get
just
rid
keep
of
your
this
mind
toe.
on the toe and how
Mhm.
bad it hurts,
Mhm.
and you're like, "What?" Maybe I think that was actually God helping him out.
That was God coming
yeah.
back from you.
Finally. God. Wait a minute. What's up with Charles?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the little miracles. You know what I mean? Like,
Guiteau then called Chester Arthur. He said, "He's a coward and an ingrate whose ingratitude to the man that made him and saved his party and land from overthrow has no parallel in history." And then he read his prayer. It was went on for 5 stanzas.
big pauses.
Mhm.
Yeah, I imagine. And then
Toe's killing me.
he shouted, "Glory, glory, glory," and he dropped the paper, the prayer paper, and he himself dropped. His neck broke almost instantly.
Good.
The cheers of the crowd reverberated throughout the area.
Damn. Shit. 250 people?
And then
And
then
then
1,000
and it
outside of the
cascades
no, because
out.
the people outside the walls are going.
Oh, it's like they did it.
I heard the snap.
Another stanza. Jesus Christ. Miller writes in a book that his voice was strong reading the prayer until the last stanza, and it started cracking.
He started stammering again because
Yeah.
his dad's
Yeah.
memory started fucking with him.
And at first, he was buried in the prison yard. For some reason, they had a thing where like everybody in the yard got to file past his body,
Oh, my God. They love it.
and his brother-in-law was there waving the flies from his face.
Shit.
They already showed it. The flies already started.
I guess so. He probably smelled like shit.
Well, also the flies wanted to see it.
Yeah. They accounted for 10,000 of those tickets. Plus, he was a real piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah. And he always smelled like shit, so they knew him already.
Yeah.
Like, we were waiting for this guy to die.
Yeah.
He was there for I don't know if it was a few days or a week or something. But then his body was dug up and sent to the Army Medical Museum, where an autopsy was performed to find any sign of insanity. His brain was removed, cut into pieces, and sent to different psychiatrists.
Holy shit.
And he had some RFK Jr. worms? Or
Nothing abnormal was found other than a malaria-infected spleen that was twice its normal size.
Okay.
Who knows when that started? He'd been in jail for almost a year at this point.
Yeah.
And today, the Army Medical Museum still has parts of his spleen and skeleton, as well as a glass jar with pieces of his brain. They share a cabinet with vertebrae of John Wilkes Booth, and also the spine of James Garfield with a line pointing to where the bullet went.
Wow.
And I got a picture of him drawn.
You saying they have Garfield's spine on display?
Yeah, because they used it during the trial.
Oh,
Wow.
To show where the bullet went.
So the president's spine is in a museum.
Yeah. Where's yours?
Dude.
I'm spineless. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm a sniveling worm. That's I can't believe they could do that.
Here's a political cartoon from Puck magazine in 1881 with a picture of him with the revolver. That's a very good drawing of him. Basically, looks exactly like that. And he's holding a piece of paper that says, "An office or your life."
Correct.
He's in the train station, and it says underneath it, "A model office seeker."
Wow. Really? The puck doesn't pull punches.
No.
What fools these mortals be is the tagline of this magazine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. I would read Puck in the day.
Yeah, there's a new version. There's a new political reporting magazine called Puck Now.
Really?
Yes.
No relation.
Other than the name, I assume. No.
Okay.
And
Hard hitting though. I mean, this is like they got like fucking marketing on the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That drawing is pretty tight.
it is
It's very tight.
yeah, and that's it. It looks exactly like, and they didn't really enlarge anything.
That's like, it's going to National Lampoon's kind of territory.
Yeah. Because the head's a little.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're saying the likeness is very dead on, it's such a stark image.
Yeah.
This is a really good fucking tabloid. I love this rag.
Oh, I should also mention that when he was in prison, there was a picture taken of him, of his portrait. And he, before the photographer left, Guiteau asked him for $25 for the release fee.
Wow.
Sorry, you don't have the rights.
Yeah, he thought he would be famous, so he wanted to make sure he made some money off of it.
Damn. Really very gone.
Yeah. I never got back.
Yeah. His face does make you hate him more.
Yeah.
It's a unique characteristic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a bit of the crazy in it seems.
Yeah.
But that's the story of Charles Guiteau, the man who assassinated slowly James Garfield.
Along with his accomplices, his doctors.
Yes, along with his doctors.
Yeah. And Purvis just like trying to shut it down, man. Oh, man.
I mean, so it turns out Purvis was right with just a blanket and hot water bottles.
Of course, yes.
Let it be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit. Wow. A
little fucker.
Yeah.
What was it? What do you think? What do you think was going on here, Matt? Do you think he just was born an asshole?
Well,
he was beaten into him.
His mother had psychosis, and
his dad beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. And so there's definitely something going on with his head when he really believes that people will like him and adore him after he shoots the president, and people in the moment are trying to kill him.
Yes.
And he still believes that he'll get out of jail.
But also this foster period, you would say, with the Noise cult, he would also see the adoration for Noise and feel it himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then he would want to be like, I want that for me.
Right. This is a great drug.
Yes.
I want some.
Yeah, and it's a good point, because I wonder if because he said that he believed that he was as pious and perfect as Noise, and Noise probably isn't doing menial labor. And he's going like, look at me, I'm just as good as that guy. Why do I have to work?
Yeah, there's nothing more pious than murder.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
by then I think it was the power drug.
But God told him to do that.
But he's seeing what's really up with Noise, with power. You know.
Yeah, and also and fucking.
But not nuttin'.
Not nuttin'.
Yeah.
Yeah, Noise was very. I guess
somebody was
a lot of practice. Well, because you could nut when Noise said you can make a kid.
You go into a dark corner and nobody would know you nutted.
Yeah, but that means you might nut during.
They can't even see ships back then. Think nobody's gonna know if you nut 3 feet outside any door? Sure. While you're fucking the lady, you're like, you can leave and be like, you know what, this is disgusting. Then you go outside and you go, boop, 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 boop. Oh, God. Feels so good.
And you wonder why all these slugs showed up to eat the dirt.
Yeah. You wonder why all these slugs showed up to eat the brains.
You're the expert on that.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Oh, God.
Great story, Matt.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, B, for another good recommendation.
It was very, very good.
Yes, it was. I feel like it's one of those things where it's just contemporary news articles, and no one's writing about this guy until they have to, because he's a known name, and so it's just people's memories of that. He has his own writings, and they're all just madness and not helpful to understand his life. And so then after he became famous, it was interviews with his siblings, and so we got some information from that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, here's a book that is mostly about Garfield, but Noise is...
You know what's most charming about this story?
What's that?
Is that there's a guy that has access to the halls of power in a way that is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, really.
For a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you can talk to somebody and be like, no, really, and really break their balls to the point where they go like, I will never have this discussion again with you. That is the end. You know?
Yeah, he was able to have that conversation so many times. A guy who should have had no access at all.
No. But he was like, no, really, think about it.
But there was a big argument after Garfield was shot. There was a big argument throughout the country of should they have bodyguards. And a lot of people were saying no, because then they'll be further removed from daily life with the people.
Right.
Because that was still the norm even after Lincoln was shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's this anti-king thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Even though he's in the patronage system. And
which is very king-like.
yes,
Right.
yeah.
Of course, yeah. Then we can't bother him for jobs.
Yes, right.
If he has bodyguards.
Yes.
You know, and he's...
That's what Congress is for.
Yeah. God. But that's where Garfield came from.
Right.
God. How long was he in office?
Garfield?
Yeah.
4 months.
Jesus fucking.
Because what? I think he was it was...
So he really has no legacy.
Well, he
whatsoever.
won in 80. He would have got in January. And then he was shot.
Had the shortest tenure.
He was
right?
shot in June. No,
Really?
it was what's his name who got sick during the inauguration
during
speech.
the inauguration, right?
But Garfield doesn't according to what I remember from Wikipedia, he doesn't rank as the worst president because he was for civil reform and generally at the time progressive about Black Americans.
Yes.
But he instituted some policies before he died.
Right.
And he was even when he was on his deathbed for 11 weeks, he wasn't sick the whole time. He still had time.
Well, the first 100 days thing, I'm sure, must have been a thing too. Like,
sure, yeah,
you know, like kind of like do some stuff while you have goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And he managed to make that far before he got shot.
Damn.
Which is all we can ask for.
I know. Yeah. In my first 100 days, I will get shot.
Shit.
Everybody's like,
Mark my word.
And that probably carries over into people writing in the different ways he should die because he's so new that he's still very popular as a president.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
I like that Garfield guy. You know, he's done nothing bad to me.
Yeah, he didn't do a single thing I don't like.
Yeah. So they're like, you should fucking skin this guy. I'm talking, you know, scalp him and then the rest down, peel him like a banana. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah,
Good idea.
yeah. In the line of like presidential assassins or attempted assassins, right? You've got McKinley, and
Shot by the anarchist.
what?
McKinley was, I believe.
I don't know.
I believe so. I believe he said after, like again, with that thing where they
Yes, he was.
they pull him down with the gun.
He was, yeah, I believe so. Or at least I don't know if they painted him that way or he was. He had some literature about it.
I think the quote
can't
was,
remember.
"I'm an anarchist. I've done my duty."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. And then so you have this guy, then Booth, and you have Oswald, and then country music sensation.
Piss Christopherson.
Oh, no. John Hinckley.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so there's general with all of these guys,
There's that guy that threw a shoe at George W. Bush.
but that was a great throw, good duck, but great throw of a shoe. It's not.
It was a good game.
And that was random
was a-
task.
Thank you. Who throws a shoe?
Yeah. Yeah, but George Bush had watched enough Get Smart to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to get hit
He
with that
watched
phone.
all the Austin Powers.
Yeah,
and he was
yeah. And a baseball guy too. You know how to duck a pitch.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Booth is maybe the most sane of all of those guys.
And
except
that's
the,
not
the Iraqi
saying
guy.
much.
doesn't
and
count.
the guy that
Yeah.
caught Booth or was looking for Booth
was insane.
Was
yeah.
insane.
And ballless.
I think there's a show about that now.
Yes, they did just come out with a show about. I don't know how much he's featured, but they did come out with a show like called Catching Booth or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention one a great source I had with this was Killing Garfield by
Who's right?
Jim Davis.
Jim Davis.
by Jim Davis.
He's like, I'm on this train. I can't escape it.
Yeah.
I gotta kill Garfield. He goes, these people can't get enough of this shit.
Killing Garfield by the lady that writes Kathy.
Oh yeah.
Ack!
I gotta kill Garfield.
Killing Garfield by Normal.
By Gilbert.
By John and Odie. It's a collaboration of all three of them. Killing Garfield.
No, I'm kidding. That's not a
Marmaduke.
source.
Yeah, Snoopy.
But yeah, that's the tale of one of America's
That's real fun, man.
What a crazy son of a
presidential
bitch,
assassins.
man.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that? Did you like that?
Yeah, I wish he actually did notoriously. Because when I read he notoriously danced, I was just imagining him doing.
Oh
some,
yeah,
like,
the dance went
incredible.
in my mind right away too.
What are you gonna do? You can't hang him until he's in there. So he gets a good 15 seconds of interpretation.
Also, like, what kind of dances did white people have back then?
Yes, good question.
Yeah.
They weren't like popping and locking.
Yeah.
And
No.
moving.
He wasn't doing the robot.
No, it wasn't twerking. Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was twerking. That
It was
would
like
be
just-
amazing.
He's biting his lip,
Yeah.
You can't kill a robot.
biting his lower lip, and just fucking.
What if in the last stanza he started stammering again, and somebody goes, "Oh, this is a remix."
He's drawn this one out.
The record's skipping.
Yeah.
Someone hit him with a shoe.
Matt, that was excellent, man. Thank you.
Sir,
And thank you,
you.
B,
Great suggestion.
Patreon subscriber. We love you. I'm going to say goodnight. I love you. My name is John Fahey.
I'm Aaron Pita.
Never so.
Good night, everybody. We love you.